Here's the part of the silver tsunami, I think, though, that everybody is ignoring. The flood of the homes that are going to hit the market are not move-in ready 2020 built homes on a corner lot in the perfect school system with nothing to do but move right into the house. Most of the homes are 50, 60, 70, yes, even 100-year-old money pits. And I hear no one talking about this. I don't hear Melody Wright talking about it. I don't hear Real Estate Mindset talking about it. I don't hear Adam Taggart talking about this. I don't hear Danielle DiMartino Booth talking about this. No one will talk about this point here. And it's inconvenient. Or it's possible that they're not actually in the game. They actually are not touching the inventory. They're not walking through the inventory. They're definitely not swinging a hammer. They're definitely not swinging a hammer. And they're not being realistic with themselves either. So, if you look at the United States housing inventory we currently have, I mean, you should sit down for this. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, you can look up this data yourself. 50% of all homes in the U.S. were built before 1979. 16% were built before 1949. How many homes were built after 2020? Just 2.9% of all existing homes. So when I look at this, you can see here, let me start at I'll start right here. So when I look at these graphs I created using census data, and I did this looking at the United States. I wanted to see California, just a few different states. So I did the country. I did California, Florida, New York, Ohio, and Tennessee. And some of this stuff is like, what? Come again? So if I look at the year 2020 and later, 2.9% of all homes. That's what that stock represents. Think about that for a second. If you're a millennial or particularly a Gen Z buyer, right? Like, you could be just like of home buying age over the last 5 years. In the last 5 years, even with people would say the overbuilding of the U.S. housing market, some people still think that. Maybe you'll change your mind after you see this data. 2.9% of all the housing stock was built after 2020. That's it. That's it. The year 2000 through 2019, 24% of all the stock was built. 1980 through 1999, 25% of the housing stock. It's getting bigger. 1950 through 1979, 33% of all the homes were built. And 1949 and earlier, 16%. I think the number under 1939 is about 8%. Now, it varies by state, certainly, right? Some states we'll look right here. In California, for instance, their biggest slice of that pie, 41% built through 1950 through 1979. You can see if in Florida, 29% built from 1950 through 1979. New York, 36% between 1950 and 1979. Ohio, 38%. And Tennessee, 31%. Here's what's really shocking. Look at this number. 1949 and earlier. Like I said, 16% of the U.S. housing stock. In California, 14% of all the homes. In Florida, way different. Only 3.5%. The housing stock's not as old in Florida. New York, 37%. Ohio, 24%. And Tennessee, 9%. But think about this for a second. In New York, one of the largest markets on earth, right, for the houses, largest economy on earth, 37% of all homes were built before 1949. And my state here in Ohio, 24% built before 1949. So what's my point? What are you trying to tell me there, housing nerd? The homes that are in the Silver Tsunami, if you look at the wave of houses that are coming in the Silver Tsunami, are old. The people are old. You'll be old one day. I'll be old one day. And houses are old. And they're not getting younger because we built most of the homes between like 1950 through 1979, really in the 70s or early 70s. But the 50s and 60s saw the explosion of inventory in most markets. And all that inventory may not cater to what people actually want. Now, I like older homes. Out of all the rental properties I own, the newest one is 1940. So, yeah, I like old homes. I think they're great. And quite frankly, that's what's available. So, like this idea that, hey, these boomers are going to leave us these homes and we'll just be able to move right into them may not be exactly what people are thinking. And I don't hear anybody mentioning this. I think because they're looking at spreadsheets or articles or data and kind of making up the narrative as they go, they're not actually out there looking at the stock, like walking through the houses, doing the renovations, tearing out walls, dealing with what in the world is that plumbing going? What's going on with that plumbing? Oh, it's from 1920. That's what's going on with it. The homes that these boomers are leaving behind are like, they need everything. I mean, some of these houses, especially the vacant houses, that's the other part of this. Forget the boomer side of it. Think about the vacant home myth. Hey, you guys, we don't need more supply. We don't have a housing shortage. Okay. As long as you're willing to put in 100 to 150 into a home, new windows, roof, plumbing, electric, kitchen, bathroom, flooring, foundation, gutters, siding. I mean, that's the house, right? I mean, beyond the framing, that's like the actual house. That's what it is. So unless you're willing to put that type of work and take that type of risk on a property, a lot of this housing stock you're going to see is old, very, very old. And I'll show you what I mean right now. And then I will take some comments because I'm really curious what y'all have to say about this. I didn't even do a video for this. I was like, you know what? I'm going to jump on the live and take y'all through what I'm finding because I was shocked. So like in Columbus, I'm going to share Zillow with you. This is Zillow, obviously. And what I did was I looked at all the homes in Columbus, all the actual homes in the Columbus, Ohio area that are single family houses, not the Columbus, Ohio area, the city of Columbus, single family houses for sale. This is crazy. There were 597 total in the whole city for sale right now, single family homes. Of the 597, 410 were built before 1949. I'll say that again. 597 total available homes in Columbus. Of those, 410 of them were built before 1949. I mean, here's one. Here's a house. 95 grand. It's actually an auction. And look what it says. Court-appointed receiver sale. This could have been a boomer. Could have been. Could have been a boomer that owned this property. Let's see if it's move-in ready. Let's see what you're up against if you want to buy a boomer home. Let's go. I mean, to me, this house is awesome. Like, this is the type of house I would like to buy. That's just how I am. I like older homes. It's got maybe some newer flooring in it, kind of. It looks like vinyl flooring maybe, but like it definitely needs some work. I mean, this flooring is older, though it could be really nice. The bathroom is not horrible. Is it move-in ready? Maybe. It depends on what you want to live in, right? But the idea that all these homes are going to crash the housing market, you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself on that. You need to understand, and that's what I'm trying to show you, is data that you're not going to see from the talking heads. The Silver Tsunami headline sounds good. It sounds good. And in theory, it makes sense. If houses didn't age, it makes sense. But when you look at the inventory now, and it's market specific. Like Arizona probably has many more new homes than older homes. We saw that in Florida, right? But they still have a lot of old homes too. But like in Ohio, New York, California, Tennessee, there are far more older homes than there are newer homes. And that is something that you are going to have to come to grips with if you're a younger home buyer and you're looking for a real opportunity. If you're just messing around and you're like, I just want the housing market to crash because I don't want people to be in houses and I want investors to be, doomed. Well, then none of this matters, right? It's just BS. But if you really want to find a home, if you really want to get into real estate investing, or you just want to find your first house, you may have to swing a hammer. You may have to do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so the other part of the equation is about 200 to 400,000 homes a year are demolished because they're old. So you got to think what happens to one of these boomer homes. Let's pretend there's 1 million homes that flood the market in a year. A big percentage of those are going to be swooped up by investors, especially the newer homes. Like the newer move-in ready houses are what the big institutional investors want. That's their bread and butter. They don't want a fixer-upper from 1920. They want something like they can just rent immediately. That's a challenge that people will face in the future because investors will continue to buy newer homes. So you've got a portion of the 1 million units hitting the market that are newer that investors will grab. But then you're going to have a bunch of older homes that hit the market. And if 200 to 400,000 a year now are being demolished and you've got a bunch of vacant, abandoned homes, those may be demolished too. There are demolished homes that are happening all over the country. I see it. I see it on a corner there. Oh, that house is forgotten about. Oh, the foundation's bad. Somebody kept the house and didn't do any maintenance on it. No gutters on the roof, right? Water pours onto the foundation, cracks the foundation. The house starts to sink and shift. Oh, demolish it. So, we need the new stock. That's a big takeaway here today, I think. You need the new stock. To pretend that we don't need new inventory is very short-sighted. And it's not going to help the future generations.